for the beach, and in the face. And welcome back to Kevin channel. And tonight we have something that we've never had on the channel before, and it's a bit freaky and very special. In the face, Sinn specializing. This is something quite exceptional. Even the packaging is good. Look at it. Let's get into that. Open up this lovely cardboard package and we will entertain the inner box with our fingertips. And in the inner box, which is very nice, it's a faux leather. It's not real leather, but still quite nice and a lot better than we get from our Hattori payats. Let's open him up. Oh, there it is. The Sinn U1. Fully tegimented option. And you get, I'll get this out of the way first. You get this little thread locker bottle that is a juice designed to lock the threads of your screws, which we'll get into later. Furthermore, you will get this. The Sinn U1 German dive watch. And in the box, and this one came from eBay, from Mr. June, who purchased this watch from eBay. This is from the authenticator. Do not take it off if you want to send it back, but we don't want to send it back. And you'll get the Sinn tool, and this box is something else. Lovely box. And before I go any further, let me show you what is possible nowadays. This is the guarantee card from the previous owner who purchased this twerp from CW Sellers on the 13th of December 2022 for probably, because Francis and Gay sell this option of the watch for £2,825, which is a lot of money. It's about $3,520 for the full Tegiment. This twat probably is a rich cunt. I don't know how some people do it. You'd buy a nearly £3,000 watch, not wear it, keep it for 6 months and sell it for over £1,000 less. Mr. June bought this watch for £1,750 from eBay. It's a mint, unworn, fully tegimented U1. Insanity, and in the face. That's what's possible if you're clever. Well done, Mr. June. What's up, Bob? And so this watch is $2,825. This is the full Tegiment. So you have the Tegimented. This is a little logo that indicates it is Tegimented. And the case back also features the same little logo. It's like a little arrow puncturing a hard surface. Insanity. So you can buy the non-tegimented version, which comes only with the Bezel Tegimented, for £1,410 or $3,002. But Mr. June and all of us would, why wouldn't you want the top level one? This watch was launched in 2005, and this is Sinn's best known diver. Everybody knows about it. I mean, and before I bore you all with the specs, which I will do, I mean, everybody's seen this watch has been around forever, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I love it so much and I'm so impressed with it. It's just such a hefty bastard. But yes, 2005. It can't be mistaken for anything else. Let's put it on the wrist before we do anything, so everybody doesn't just skip through. We'll put it on my 7.5-inch wrist and show it off for the beach. Look at that. Have you ever seen anything like that? Look at it. You can put it above the knuckle and wear it like that on the big beefy, or you can just drop it down. I like to wear mine. My knuckle bone is there, so I wear it like that. And look at it. What an absolute cunt he is. Take him off again. Sinn's best known diver. Brutal, austere design. The language is for the beach. And this is just a pure tool watch. Purpose built for the task of diving. It probably is the most legible watch I've ever seen with these thick hands. So legible. It's just insane. You always know the time of day when this is on your wrist. And this double AR coating crystal is, I mean, it's just, there's almost no reflection. This is insane. You can just reach in and pull the hands out. I mean, you just feel like there's no glass on it. Quite special. I mean, look at that. There's a reflection there, but it is insanity. Wipe him off. It's a big lump. It's a big lump on the wrist, guys. A heavy bastard. With all links in place, he's weighing in at a hefty 222 grams, a quarter pound. I would not recommend this U1 for any wrist under 7 inches. I mean, you can see it on my wrist at 7.5, and it's almost stretching the limit there. So, you know, it is a big watch. Not for everyone. But fear not, because for wrists of less than 7 inches circumference, Sinn has created a new watch, which is the incredibly popular U50, because most people are trannies, and their wrists are spaghettified. And this one comes in at 41 millimeters. It's exactly the same in appearance, but it has a downgrade. This is a 1,000-meter water-resistant watch. The U50 is a 500-meter. It's all irrelevant, really, but the U50 is a 41 millimeter with an 11 millimeter thick case. This is 14.7, nearly 15 millimeters thick. Still quite thin for 1,000 meters, but yes, the U50 is there for all of those of us who need a scaled down watch. We both feature Salita movements. This one is the SW200. It's a 26 joule, 38-hour power reserve, hacking and hand winding movement. It has a lovely action and hugely, look at that, the threading and everything is great. Date complication. Shut the fuck up, bros. You know, if you follow the channel, you'll know I favour big divers, and you know, I've got a few to compare tonight. You know, this is a perspective that you may not have seen on other channels. I don't know why my focus isn't working. There we go. So you could compare it to the large Doxa here, but look at the legibility of the U1. I mean, he's out-angling. Of course, even the U1 will be out-angled by the OSD in thickness and in health, till death do us part. But this watch is something quite retarded. The dial on this watch is just for the beach. Look at this dial, there's nothing like it. We've got these beautiful Lego or Roblox hands. Everything's printed. You've got Sinn printed at the 12, and then you've got in lovely red U1 automatic. And if you look down at the bottom, you can't really read it. Made in Germany. 1,000 meters or 100 bar. And what I like about the dial, it's a matte black dial. Look at that, you just can't see the crystal. It's from almost any angle. You can't see it. But it's a 60 second track there, and you've got these syringe tipped markers for the indices, and look how the seconds hand just floats around, snuffling the teats of the track. Very nicely done. And when it gets round to this massively lume minute hand. Look at it. It's coming round now, guys. Don't worry, it won't be long. Look at this. What a pleasure to behold. It matches up. There we go. And so that looks great. The bezel on this watch is a captive bezel, which means that it's screwed on. Apparently, we all knock our bezels off our other watches, such as this and all of the other ones. They're not captive. They can be bashed off underwater or anywhere else. This one is screwed down, so you won't be able to do that. One of the negatives of this watch, for me, is the bezel. I love the watch, but it has this 60-click bezel, which is extremely stiff to turn and has a massive amount of backplay. It's not... I mean, some people will probably love this. The U50 has a nicer one apparently, but something else about it, which it shares with this other watch here that I have, this misaligned, is that this U1 does have a slightly misaligned bezel, as we'll show you here. It's not perfectly aligned. Now, it's not far out, but at nearly £3,000, Seiko are not the only ones playing these kind of tricks, I'm afraid, and Doxa as well. Look at that. £2,300, 2,820 something. They're all doing it, guys. They're all at it. It is not really acceptable, but for most people, you know, they're not going to notice it. Most watch twats, they're not as pervy as us, but look at that. It's not quite perfect. You don't really notice it, but it's not perfect. So we got the Tegimented steel. So what about this Tegiment? I mean, you guys, what the fuck is it? It's a bead blasted case. It's all bead blasted. There's no... And the great thing is about this watch is, look, it doesn't matter how you handle it and how greasy your hands are, you don't put any smudges on it. It's not polished. But Tegimented steel is a type of steel that's created through a process called colsterizing, which sees a large concentration of carbon atoms introduced as a gas diffused into the steel surface at temperatures of under 500 degrees centigrade. Now, the resulting expansion of the steel surface, austenite crystal structure, causes high compressive stresses. As a result of this, a very hard layer is formed, around 30 microns thick. Tegimented stainless steel ends up with a surface hardness of between 1200 to 1500 Vickers. 316L steel, which is used in pretty much all watches, is around 220 Vickers. And as an example, Seiko's Deer Shield, which is featured on this Marine Hui, is around 500 Vickers. So tegimenting, although it incredibly increases the hardness of the steel, does not render watches impervious to scratches, but you would have to really bang him up pretty fucking hard to scratch him up. So that's what this little logo is, and that's what tegimentation is. I believe Sinn outsources the process to some other company, and also the steel they use. Sinn is using a steel which they procured from a company called ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, and this is the steel used in the manufacturing of the external hulls of German U-boats or submarines. It is in fact totally resistant to seawater or Pisswasser, and is also of the highest non-magnetic quality. It is totally non-magnetic with no residual magnetism. On top of that, Sinn specify the usage of the company DMV, who regulate all kinds of shit for all kinds of industries, but they use them to test these watches, and they slap these cunts in a box at minus 30 degrees centigrade for 3 hours, and then up to plus 70 degrees centigrade for 3 hours, and they work at 95% humidity, let it be known, and they continue to work perfectly. Of course, the pressure testing is also done by them. Signed Sinn crown. Look at the state. And let's look at the back of the case. It's a screw-down case back with the Sinn Deutsche U-Boot style, so it tells you it's from a submarine. And it's great. But what is wrong with this watch? And there's always something wrong with every watch. What's wrong with this watch, apart from the slightly misaligned bezel and the not particularly pleasant bezel action? I mean, some of you might like it. It's not my favourite. That compared to this, it's just not even, it's not a thing. That's JDM versus U-Boot style. The worst thing I think about it is this clasp, and it's a real shame. While the clasp isn't that bad, you can find better clasps on watches that cost less than £500 from micro brands. This is bear in mind, this is nearly a £3,000 watch that is exceptional in every way, but it has a press fitted. It doesn't even have a double deployant. This is just a press fit. The milled swing arm is nice, Elder style, but it is not milled. This is a pressed outer shell, and there's no ratcheting. There is a dive extension, but it's pretty crap. 3 micros, and in a watch of this price, Seiko's got a ratcheting extension. Mr. Doxa has a ratcheting extension. Even the lowly OSD 300 Pro has, he borrowed it from Seiko, but even he has a ratcheting extension. Everyone's got them. Everyone has them now. This is a milled out piece. This watch is cheaper than this one. This watch has a higher, this is a 1500 meter diver, this is 1000, it's irrelevant, but in terms of clasps, not even once. So, although there's nothing wrong with this clasp, it's also quite difficult to open. If you didn't have a nail, if you just cut your nails, this is not easy to do, and then you have to open it like that. But, overall, what a fucking cunt. And let's have a look at the lume. Unfortunately, it's not dark yet, and the lume on this watch is not terribly bright, but it's very long lasting. So that's the Sinn lume of the U1. There's not much more to be said. I can now do a small comparison with the other behemoths in my collection. Look at that. I would highly recommend this watch. The feeling on the wrist is pure pleasure. It's a bastard. It really is. I wouldn't pay full money for it. But it's a real pleasure to wear. And it gets a lot of attention. A lot of looks. So I hope you liked it, guys. full Tegiment Sinn U1. There's not going to be any new watches for a long time on the channel. I was hoping to reach 1,000 subs, but it looks like that's not going to happen now. In the meantime, stay freaky, keep all your feathers retarded, never give up, and remain at the beach. Everything is for the beach. For the beach!